Plans to build 1.5 million new homes under threat from Labour's solar panel rules. We're going to read into this exclusive from the iPaper, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here for an exclusive from the iPaper with the headline that Labour plans to build 1.5 million new homes is under threat from their solar panel rules. The building industry warns that the extra red tape could make some projects unviable. Just a reminder, hit that like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. So initially, when the plans for the 1.5 million new homes came out, most of the reports that I had seen saying that was not mandatory for homes to be built with solar panels. That the premise was that it would to be encouraged for homes to be building solar panels, not mandatory. But according to this exclusive, that's not appears to be the case here. Now, I said at the time, and I stand by this position, that I generally believe that every single home should be installed with solar panels. We get plenty of sunshine. It's free energy, and it does reduce energy bills. And while there have been increases in energy bills by energy companies, my parents are a prime example. They have solar panels on their home. They installed them several years ago, and in comparison to some of the other houses that they have, who are also having the same type of homes that they live in, they have saved so much money from those solar panels. They have made such a difference in terms of cost effectiveness to them to help keep those energy bills down, and then they will do the same for you if you choose to go for solar panels. But like everything, it all comes at a cost, and these things cost money, and the government does have some incentives and whatnot to try and help people get on board with that. But there are also some industries that are not willing to install them. You're asking private companies to do this as well, and getting them to fork out more money is very, very difficult for them to do so, because obviously, like any private company, they want to make sure that they get their investment back in something that they build into as well. And that is the challenge here. And we're trying to build, the Labour government are trying to build 1.5 million new homes, which is a massive, massive target. I still don't think they're going to hit that target, but if they can hit close to that target, it would still be an achievement in of itself. It would be steps in the right directions. I do feel like that they are tearing up the planning reform and letting things go carte blanche to build as many homes as they possibly can, which doesn't sound good at all. I understand that there are some arguments in certain areas where certain types of houses do not require solar panels. So I've heard those cases and arguments as well. I think the majority of homes should be mandatory, but there are some cases and circumstances where they can't be built because of the type of homes as well. So I can understand that as well. But I'm actually I'm quite positive about this. For all those people who say that solar panels are not helpful, honestly, do some research, do some homework. They do save money. They do save energy. They are a benefit. And personally, I think every single home should have solar panels. In my personal opinion, I think we could save so much money off our energy bills in doing so. But like everything else, it all comes at a cost. And the question is how much are they going to enforce this and other red tape in while also trying to maintain this target of 1.5 million new homes? That is the question that we are asking ourselves with this Labour government. So plans to fit almost all new homes in England with solar panels will make it harder for the government to hit its target of building 1.5 million homes by the end of this Parliament, the iPaper has been told. Construction sources said that when combined with other red tape, it could make some projects unviable. They also fear the process of seeking exemptions may become a nightmare because of the massively understaffed council planning departments. Under plans first reported by The Times, housebuilders will be mandatory to install solar panels on new properties from 2027 as part of a new policy called Future Home Standards. So they're saying it's mandatory. The Times have reported on it. The government argues that it will slash energy bills while also helping the UK hit net zero targets. On last Thursday, it will be a couple of days before then, the Prime Minister's official spokesperson said solar panels help cut bills for families and will boost our national energy security. So we, of course, want to see solar panels on as many new homes as possible. Yeah, because we don't want to be relying on, we can't be continuously relying on oil and gas, because anything that fluctuates those markets, especially on the global market, things outside the UK's control, costs us more on our energy bills. The future home standards, which will be published in the coming months, will include measures to drive this. The building industry is being consulted on proposals which experts said would require about 80% of new homes to have solar panels, covering the equivalent of 40% of buildings' grounds area. About 90% would have fewer solar panels due to exemptions, including the pitch of the roof and the orientation of the home, with only 1% of new homes expected to have none at all. The change would add about $40,000 to the cost of a detached house, but homeowners would be expected to recoup the cost within 4 years in the form of lower bills. However, there are fears in the construction industry that the policy could slow down the delivery of new homes and hampers Labour's ability to hit its 1.5 million target. An industry source said that it was another example of red tape which added costs to developers. All of these decisions on different policy areas will have an impact on ability to deliver homes, they said. If you insist on things that are going to cost you thousands of pounds, that will have an impact on viability. Ultimately, when you assess whether you can build or not, you look at how much it's going to cost you to build. How much is the land cost? What then will you get in return in terms of sale? If the latter number is not bigger than the initial numbers, well, obviously it's a developer's profits with there, so you're not going to build those homes. Yeah, ultimately they want to recoup profits back from this. The source pointed to a recently introduced biodiversity net gain rules as another example of the red tape. If you keep adding things, then of course the more sites will just not be viable to build. So that's why it's key that we get this right. They also voiced concerns that exemptions would have to be signed off on a house-by-house basis, which would be an absolute nightmare because local authorities' planning departments are massively understaffed. Yeah, you can't do a house-by-house basis. That's just going to be too. That's just not going to be viable. That really is not. Especially when they've cut back within civil servants as well within the Labour government, and they're going to be doing that over the next several years as well as now. Neil Jefferson, chief executive of the Homes Builders Federation, said new homes built emit on average a third of the carbon of an equivalent size older properties, saving residents of new homes thousands of pounds in energy bills. Solar panels are increasingly being used to further reduce customers' energy bills and meet regulatory and other requirements. However, the government needs to ensure that new building regulations set realistic targets that recognise that the design of new homes impacts the extent of solar panel use, and it is not appropriate in every location and orientation. PM spokesman denied that the new rules would not affect delivery of the 1.5 million target. And he said, we're obviously doing this in a consultation with the industry. That's why we're working on the details of it, which you'll obviously see once the future home standards has been published. On the issue of extra red tape, he added, we must balance any increase in costs to businesses against the benefits that solar panels will bring, cutting bills for families and boosting our national energy security to get Putin's boot off our neck. That's just normal rhetoric there from Labour there, from the PM spokesperson, really, on that thing. But yeah, we want to be less reliant on global energy. We need to be reliant on our own energy development. Pushing towards net zero, pushing towards reliance on wind and solar, hydro, hydrogen and other nuclear. These kind of powers can make a key difference. One aspect in comparison, like France, one of the things that France has in terms of their energy is that they also have a lot of nuclear energy that's really efficient for them. That is something that we should be looking more into as well. I don't personally prefer it, but it's not covering emissions into the atmosphere in comparison to oil and gas. So this is the right direction that we need to be going. That is for sure. And the argument that some people might make in the context of the chat or in the comments box, but basically saying that we don't get enough sun. This is absolute nonsense. We get more than enough sun throughout the year to make it viable. And like I said, my parents are just one of hundreds of thousands of examples of people who have solar panels where it's going to make a difference to them. I also welcome there's been proposals of governments obviously looking to introduce solar panels onto public buildings such as schools and hospitals, which I think would be a fantastic addition as well, because again, it would help drive down those energy bills, which is something that we need to do. We are very much behind on this in comparison to many other of our European allies and friends across the pond. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of this balance of trying to build 1.5 million new homes while also trying to produce solar panels and some of the other extra red tape that could come at this? It is a difficult act. But do you agree with me? I don't think they're going to hit that 1.5 million target. But what do you guys honestly think about all this? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't to already. Do check out the Rumble and Patreon content on as well. And if you want to financially support me, you can hit that join button to join the membership for as little as 99p as well. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.